Hello, my artists! Today we are going to be learning about the artist slash illustrator, Robert Sabuda. Robert Sabuda is an illustrator that makes books in a very unique way. He makes them pop up out of the page. Using cut paper and a way of arranging and folding the paper, sort of like origami, he can make his paper pieces actually move. They become 3D sculptures. Robert Sabuda is known for making a ton of different pop-up books, among them Winter's Tale. We also have The Night Before Christmas. This was one of his earlier ones. And America the Beautiful. I highly recommend you guys checking these books out because they are fantastic to look and read through and just see all the creative things that he does. Now, inspired by his pop-up books, I wanted to show you guys a great way to make a nice, easy pop-up card. Okay? And so, like this one. Now, when I did this, I initially had the idea of making different, like, you know, the songs, 12 Days of Christmas, how instead of having, you know, things like a partridge in a pear tree, I wouldn't want a partridge in a pear tree, but I would want 7 books of magic. That's Harry Potter. Or maybe I'd want 2 droids fighting. Now, these you can make as pop-up cards, but you can also, for the holiday, they can be for birthday cards, gratitude cards. They can also be a way to just make your own kind of pop-up book. And they use a very simple method called what I'm going to refer to as the chair method. All right, so let's get started. For this material, you will need, or for this project, you will need scissors. You're also going to need a glue stick and 3 pieces of paper. 1 white paper, that's about half of a regular sized sheet of paper. You will also need 2 pieces of construction paper. They can be different colors. One is going to be for the exterior, that's the outside edge, and the other is going to be for the interior, that's the inside part. Okay, let's dig into this. Before we get started on the actual cutting out of the card, we need to make sure that we have our little illustration. We know what we want to put in. The reason for that is because we need to make sure that we can measure how large it is. So see right here, if I hadn't measured to see where these were, I might have put it right here, and then I would have been able to see the paper that's holding it up behind it. And we want it to be like an illusion, like it's floating on its own. It's magical that way. So I've got my little paper right here. Now, this is a fast-forwarded version, but basically you take a piece of paper about half the size of a regular sheet of paper, and this is where you make your illustration. Now, a mistake I made again, I'll let you guys know this so that you can be aware. Keep in mind how tall yours are, okay? Even though this will still fit inside the card, remember that you've got that little inch that's actually pressing it, so it's an inch shorter. So I'm gonna make sure that I don't make the same mistake, and I'm gonna go about an inch down, make a little mark. I don't want my illustration to be any taller than that half-inch mark, okay? Now for this one, I'm just a fast-forwarded version. I wasn't kidding when I said a fast-forwarded version. I promise I don't draw this fast. And super important, I used references when I was drawing this. I was looking at photos, and that helped me to get all these little details, because these robots do have a lot of them. So yes, make sure that you have a photo of what you want to draw. It'll help you catch those little details in your own drawings. The second thing that you're going to do is you need to make sure that before you cut the little chairs that you see where your piece ends. And so we're going to take a pencil. I'm actually going to zoom this in a little bit. Okay. And I am going to mark on either side of the paper. I'm going to make my fold first. Okay. And then I'm going to make where the bottom of this illustration ends, okay? Okay, so it's here and here. That means I've got to make my cuts about that wide, and I'm using about 2 fingers. 2 fingers is about the width I want to make this chair. Okay. And now I'm going to fold it the opposite way so I can see my lines. Okay. And now I am going to cut about 1/2 inch up. Now, I don't need to use a ruler for this one because our teacher and I can kind of eyeball it. But if you want to actually get a ruler, I will have those available so that you can use them. Okay. Okay. And voila, we have our little cutouts. Now this part is the tricky part. What we have to do is we need to fold these the opposite way. This paper right here is going to fold one way, and these, our little chairs, are actually going to fold the opposite way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this to the side and I'm going to press. And when I press with this one, my other fingers on the other side are going to pinch it, hold it, okay? Pinch it and hold it, okay? And now they're going to keep that. The rest of this, I'm not worried about this one yet, okay? I am pressing and folding down. So I'm taking this one, I'm pressing outward right there. I'm going to pinch it like this as I fold, keeping my fingers in there as long as I can to make sure that this folds along the lines, the edge that I've cut. Okay, I'm gonna give a little press, and there we have our little seats. Okay. So now we have all 3 papers that we are going to need, and these are the other 2 materials you're going to need for this. Well, you should already have used your scissors. Once you've drawn it, cut it out. Make sure that when you're cutting that you leave room at the bottom right here, like that this should be a solid part so that it can be glued down easily to your card. Now, got my droids, got the interior part of my card. This is where the chairs are. And then I have my exterior, the outside edge. And I also have a glue stick, which is gonna help me out. So now I am folding up this piece of paper right here. Okay. I'm gonna open that back up. This is a piece of scrap paper. I prefer to use scraps when I can. But anyway, so we have our exterior card, the part that looks all pretty on that side. And then I am going to put this part in. The chairs are pointed inward. Okay. And now I'm gonna glue this part in. And covering the entire thing in glue so I can make sure that it sticks and sticks really well. Okay. Now before I glue the other side, I want to do quick measuring. Okay. To measure and make sure that it will close. Look at that. All right. So lining this up right here, the lightsabers do not go above the card line, and that's exactly what we want. So I am now going to take the other side, glue it down. I'm gluing on the green part instead of the black part because I don't want to accidentally glue this part because then this part will stick to there and then my card will get stuck, and that's not something I want to happen. So I'll just glue all down here. And now close it up, iron it flat. I like to give it at least 5 to 10 seconds. Hope I'm not shaking the camera too much. There we go. And all right, both pieces are sticking pretty well. The middle part is sticking up. Good to go. All right, The last piece right here is we are going to put a little bit of glue. Now remember, cards open up like a book does, this way. Make sure that the closed part is on this side, your left, and that the open side is on your right, like you're opening up a book. That's the way you want to orient it. Okay? And now I am going to put the glue on one side, just one side of our glue sticks. There we go. One. There we go. Two. Gotta be very careful. I'm just using the edge of the glue stick to just get the side of that there. Okay. You can also use a glue bottle, but depending on the paper, it might actually weaken the paper. Yeah, so I'm going to close it and press. I made sure that this was lined up before closing it, but that way I can give a little additional pressure right there. Okay, and now there we have two droids of fighting. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you enjoy